You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real-life experiences.
Hey, thank you guys for jumping in on these Life, Hope, and Leadership podcasts with me, Nick Shabrinsky. I hope that you are enjoying the content that is coming out of each and every episode. If you are, it means the world to me if you just take a second to hit that like, subscribe, or follow button on whatever platform you're listening on. And do me a favor, send it to a few people you think would benefit from the conversation. Also, don't forget that you can jump into the dialogue of each episode on the Spotify app by leaving comments about how you liked or disliked or whatever your takeaways were from each episode. So once again, thank you for being a part of the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast community with me and all of those who are listening. So let's jump in to the next episode of Life, Hope, and Leadership. What's up, everybody? Hey, thanks so much, guys, for making this Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast a part of your life. I'm stoked to just keep these things moving. Today I was just thinking, and I put a post up on Facebook just to encourage people. But I had said everybody has shortcomings, weaknesses, and insecurities. And the moment you stop denying yours, the moment you stop lying about it, hiding it, you can actually begin the journey of true growth. And, this has been a very wild year for me. This is, for a lot of us, and I never want to put myself in a category as if I'm the only one experiencing some of the stuff that we go through. But this has been a wild year, and it's Christmas time, just came through Thanksgiving. I want to wish every one of you a very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, all these beautiful times for us to come together and really think about all the greatness of what life has to offer. I was just talking to my dad, his nephew, my cousin. We just kind of hanging out, and he goes, "Yeah, those were the good days, the good old days, the good old days." And my stepdad looked at him and said, "You always say the good old days. You always say the good old days." I said, "Look, man, if you're here today, today's a good old day. Today is what you make it." And I want you to catch that. I want you to really start realizing and really pondering on, what are you doing with your days? Your days are only what you make them. Your days by default will happen, but they will not create themselves into an equitable day by default. You have to work at the day. Your days, your hours, your minutes are the material God gives you to do something and become something great. And so I put this post up. Everybody has shortcomings. Everybody has weaknesses. Everybody has insecurities. The moment you stop denying yours, you can start the journey of true growth. And I want to be a part of your growth. I want you to go into next year with a growth plan. I want you to go into tomorrow with a growth plan. I want you to think about, man, like what could I do? What could I be? And while I was thinking about that, because I'm constantly trying to push my team, my wife, and my family, my friends, I'm a pastor. So I have a responsibility to grow and to help others grow. And I think about this verse in the Bible where the Apostle Paul, this dude's like, "Yo, man, like I got this thorn in my flesh, this thing." Nobody knows what it is. Everybody has these speculations, but he's just talking about the things I wish I'd do, I don't do. The things I wish I would do, I wouldn't do, I keep doing. I'm messed up. I got this thorn in the flesh. I've asked God to take it away, but he says, in your weakness, I will be made strong. And so I just want to be real candid on today's episode of Life, Hope, Leadership. I don't know what I'm going to name this episode, but I just want you to understand kind of the paradigm of what I was in as I was thinking about this post. If you don't know me, I'm a short guy. I'm a crazy guy. I don't know if I've ever been considered normal in the scheme of things. I grew up in kind of polar opposite worlds. I mean, I literally grew up in a pretty cool lifestyle in San Diego. The first half of my childhood, things were messy, but at least a little more consistent. The latter half of my young adulthood, 5th grade up, I moved to Pittsburgh and ended up My home was just falling apart left and right. And finally found some stability in the latter half of my teenage years by my mom marrying a great guy who became my stepdad, and still in my life to this day. But in that, I grew up often with the lesser of things. I typically didn't have the newest clothes, the coolest brands. I didn't have the expensive jeans or the nice watches. I had lookalikes. I had knockoffs. We were a poor family. And in for a large season of my life, it was food stamps, welfare, poverty. We were really broke and broken. And I want you to catch that. We were broke and broken. Not everybody who's broke is broken, but brokenness will just mess you up. And so, in that, I was 9 weeks born. I was born 9 weeks early, 3 pounds, 6 ounces. My whole life I was little, and it kind of was my theme. And so as I got older, obviously, you're young and you're living. An immature mind lives in a world of comparison. And I want you to think about that. Everybody doesn't have to live a life of comparison. I'm not just talking about keeping up with the Joneses. I'm talking about trying to be the Joneses. I'm talking about, are you okay with the weaknesses and the shortcomings and the insecurities that you have? Because when you learn not to see, there's a difference on how you could read this post. I don't want you to think by what I'm saying is, hey, just accept your weaknesses and your shortcomings, but really learning to go, you know what, this is who I am, and I'm only responsible in my life for the things I can change. And so that being said, growing up, I was always short, and then all of a sudden I hit a growth spurt, and a growth spurt for me means I hit 5'5". And that was awesome. I mean, literally I was 4'6", 4'7" up until 10th, 11th grade. I was always looking for affirmation. I really struggled with acceptance. I never really felt like I was a part of anything. I lost friends my whole life because we moved so much. So I never really had relationship friends. I just had love for friends, and I've seen that affect me even in my most recent years. You're just kind of used to a revolving door. It's just kind of like, and then in ministry, obviously. Anybody that's ever been in ministry for more than 2.5 days will tell you that as well is a revolving. Jesus literally experienced a revolving door life with people coming in and out of his life as they could get what they needed, wanted, or whatever. And so I was just driving today and I was realizing, man, I spent so many of my years wishing I was taller. Then I started losing my hair when I was like 21 years old. And, that was kind of like one thing I had going for. I had nice hair. I was, I felt like I was a decent looking guy. And so then that rolled into relationships, and I ended up getting into a serious relationship in my 20s. And, a dialogue that often came up with people was, you're short and you're losing your hair, and people would say things. And then I was comparing myself. And then I remember I had a friend who his brother was losing his hair, and they started talking about transplants and, hair plants or whatever you're talking. And, oh man, it'll make you look better. It'll make you look more sophisticated. And I remember just getting in my head in these years and wasting time on things I could change, wasting time on values and integrity and character, wasting time where I could have been investing and building the equity of my soul. One of my favorite verses in the Bible says, "Oh, why are you downcast, oh my soul? Why are you downcast, oh my soul?" And I just think that it's such a great verse in the Bible to remind us, like, where is the root of a lot of where we struggle coming from? Why are you so downcast, oh my soul? Not why are you downcast, oh my hairline, right? Not why are you downcast, oh my height line. It's Psalm 42. My bones suffer mortal agony. My foes taunt me. People make fun of me. People at me all day long. mocking me. Where is your God? Where is your God? But why are you so downcast? Oh, my soul, why are you so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God. And yet, no matter what my body feels like, no matter how people treat me, no matter how people taunt me or my God, I will put my hope in him. That's Psalm 42. That verse helps me. That verse helps me a lot, and I hope it'll help you. And I want you to think about that. Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And, kind of like, I guess like one of the ways I was going to label this possible podcast would be this, your successes, your satisfactions, and the stretch in between. People want success, but we often are so distracted by things we can't change that we don't work on the things we should change. Let me repeat that. We often are so focused on things we can't change that we lose sight of focusing on the things we can change. One time, I went through a relationship shift in my mid-20s, and I had $10,000, $15,000 in a IRA or retirement account through a job I had. I had investments, I had stocks, but I didn't have a healthy soul. And so every time I could get my hands on this stuff, every time I'd go through a hardship, every time I'd get emotional, I didn't have a fix or a real understanding of what success was because I didn't have satisfaction in myself. You got to learn to look in the mirror and go, you know what? There are things about me I can get healthier. I can lose weight. I can stretch physically. But like the stretch in this way would be, I was more focused on the stretch to get taller than the stretch to become more flexible. And flexible creates character. When I'm talking about character of stretching emotionally, stretching mentally, stretching your skill set, stretching your dialogue, stretching your communication skills, stretching your investments, stretching your generosity, stretching by serving in capacities that grows you. But I wasn't focused on that. I literally went into a deep depression by comparing myself to taller people and people with prettier hairlines. Tell me this, what does a pretty hairline and greater height, what does that guarantee you any form of success, except for the fact that you have compared yourself to somebody? And let me ask you this, if you're going to compare yourself to somebody, when does that comparison stop? So if I was looking at someone who's 5'7", and I go, man, I want to be 5'7". Okay, well, when I hit 5'7", I'm still short to the guy who's 5'9". And if I go, okay, well, then I want to be 5'9", then what? Am I going to compare myself to the guy who's 6 foot? The problem with success, and there was a quote that I was reading earlier, and it basically said, the problem with mankind is that when we find a sense of satisfaction in something, in pleasures, we don't actually stop there, but we instead create a deeper hunger for more pleasure, leading us to a life of never being satisfied. And it reminds me of a verse in the Bible that says, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness shall be filled. So there's actually this contentment, this satisfaction that comes in true righteousness. Beth Sweet, I don't even know who it is, but I love this quote that I read online when I was looking up some information on kind of what I wanted to share with you. And she said, it's hard to be satisfied with life if you're not satisfied with yourself. It's hard to be satisfied with life if you can't look in the mirror and go, okay, I can't change the color of my skin. I can't change my height. Can't change my hairline. I can't change, where I came from. I can't change my family past. But today I can read a book. Today I can go help somebody. Today I can start making goals and actually writing down a plan, and I can become great. And when you find that satisfaction, I wish in my young 20s, I would not have let my comparison so contaminate my mind and put my hope in other things. Mahatma Gandhi said, happiness is when what you think and what you say and what you do are in harmony. Isn't that awesome? Happiness, true happiness, is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are all in harmony. And I was saying the right stuff because I believed the right stuff, but I wasn't feeling the right stuff. And one day, I'm not kidding you, I was looking at breaking my shins and getting my shins stretched. So what? So I could be tall enough for a love interest? Well, what the heck is that going to do for a marriage? What is that going to do for a job? Oh, hey, you're taller. That's not going to guarantee that your soul's going to be healthy so that you can be a good husband, so you can be a good father, so you can be a good pastor, so you can be a good business owner, so you can be a good leader. These things don't matter. And we're so fixated on things that don't matter. We're so fixated on our sports teams. We're so fixated on our political parties. The greatest thing you can do in the world is look, I'm grateful we get to vote and we get to have a voice, but the greatest thing you can do is go lead the world with change by having a healthy soul, mind, will, and emotions. Your mind, your will, and emotions. What are you comparing yourself to? Who are you comparing yourself to? What are things that you dream of doing, but you're waiting for the perfect opportunity? I'm telling you, the worst time to try to be something is when you're called to the stage to be it. Get prepared now. What gift have you always wanted to dive into? What experience have you always wanted to experience? The change in your marriage is not going to come from your spouse changing. It's going to come from you changing, you becoming healthy, you throwing off what the Bible says, every sin that so easily tangles you up and tries to slow you down, or even worse, tries to destroy you. What craft or skill set have you wanted to endeavor in? What investment have you wanted to make? Well, what are you doing about that? Are you waiting till you have enough money? Okay, well, if you had enough money, do you know what to do with it then? Or are you getting the mentorship and the preparation now? And so what happened was in my young 20s, mid-20s, I spent more time trying to figure out how I could be taller and get my hair to stop falling out instead of going, you know what? I want to be prepared to be a multimillionaire so I can help people, so I can use my finances to advance the kingdom of God and to be a blessing in people's lives and have financial stability. I should have been reading books. I should have been investing my money and putting it there and leaving it there. I should have been mentoring. And I did a lot of these things, but I didn't do all of it that I could have done because I was distracted by the variables that I could not control. And so true success comes with true satisfaction. And that's why I love that verse. Hey, you know what? Why are you downcast, O my mind? Why are you so downcast, O my soul, my will, my emotions? Why are you stopping? Why is your head down? I love this other verse. It says, I lift my eyes up into the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from you, my Lord, my God, the maker of the heavens and the earth. I love this verse because what it's saying is I pick my eyes up. I'm taking my mind and my eyes off of things I can't change. And I'm looking to you. God, what do you want me to change today? And that's the prayer that I would ask you to pray. I don't care who you are, where you are, what you're doing. I would tell you to stop today and say, you know what, God, I can't change where I came from. I can't change what I did yesterday. What can I do right now to change the trajectory of my future as a teenager? What can I do today? Oh man, I got to get them J's. Oh man, I got to get them Yeezys. Oh man, I got to get them new headphones. Oh man, like I got to talk like this. No, you don't have to talk like your friends. You don't have to act like your friends. In fact, start to become the best version of you now and be willing to throw aside relationships, popularity, acceptance. If you would give it all today, you have no idea what you would gain tomorrow. And one day I was sitting there and God looked at me as clear as I could hear him or see him. It was like, man, it was like such a beautiful, his voice was so clear. And he said, Nick, what are you looking for? And I said, I wish I was taller. I wish I were a little bit taller. I wish I were a baller. I wish I had a rabbit in a hat. If I wish I had a girl, if I did, I would call her, what is that, too short? No, but truly, no, like all joking aside, I heard God say, you'll always have someone shorter than you. You'll always have someone taller than you. There will always be someone better looking than you. There will always be someone uglier than you if you always live in a world of comparison. And I decided that day, God, I never want to compare myself to people when it comes to comparing myself to things that don't matter. You know what really matters? The quality and the content of your character. What really matters is that you have gifts and talents and callings in you that should be stretched and that you should be satisfied in, so that when you succeed, you can say, I succeeded in things that mattered. Because the worst thing that you can do in your life is to live a life of success by succeeding in things that never mattered. Anyway, that's my thoughts. And I hope that you're encouraged. And I hope that you'll accept the fact that there are things about you you can't change. And I hope that you'll stop making excuses for the things that you can. It's time to grow up. It's time to become the best you. That being said, Merry Christmas. I'm not sure if I'll get another podcast out before, but I will try. And like I said, if you're enjoying these, it would be awesome to me if you would click on the Spotify link and subscribe. It's $4.99 a month, and it's going to help promote the podcast. It's going to help me get private interviews and longer episodes for you guys. And it just means the world to me to know that you guys even are listening. So thanks so much. Merry Christmas and change your world this week.
You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership Podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real life experiences.